Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 hours for the day of 1175 for the 13th of May. And you can check out the number. You didn't see it wrongly, it's not a typo. At Komar front, it's 48.64 square kilometers captured. This update, this past 24 hours is a shocking one. Huge, massive frontline changes is being reported, particularly coming from the pro-Russian side. So we're going to start off with the Sumy front, where there is also some massive update. On this own, this is already 12.41 square kilometers of frontline change. So there is two major geolocations. So we're going to cover one by one. So over at the Vasilivka region in the north of Vodolahi, the Russian forces have basically reached this point, which means that all of this area here is under Russian control, which also means the Russian forces have captured Vasilivka, and this leads to some massive capture of frontline change in this sector, with the front line clearly moving into Vololahi. So this is actually massive frontline change in this area here, very big. This piece alone is 8.94 square kilometers. So this is a very big frontline change. Of course, previously we already have the Russians claiming Vasilivka. The Ukrainians have not. And this geolocation clearly corroborates the Russian claims. Next door, over at Bilovody, the Russian forces have been geolocated on the eastern part of the town. Basically, most of the town is on the eastern part. The west is a little bit of a suburb. There's a river in between. This river over here, basically wrong color. Wrong color still. This river basically cuts the settlement into half. So which is why the front line change, if you noted, is actually mainly along the river, and the Russian forces capturing most of the eastern part of the village. So that is the front line change with the geolocation here. This piece alone is pretty big as well, 3.47 square kilometers, pretty big advance. The distant advance is around maybe 1.5 kilometers on average. Although if you look to the east, it's very tempting to draw it like this. However, I think this would be a bit too optimistic on the Russian side. So who knows, the Ukrainians may still be defending some of these tree lines. It's not impossible. So I will just gonna leave it at this for now, a bit more conservative. So if not, it could actually be even bigger. So that's all from the frontline changes at the Sumy front, and you can see the first one is already quite massive. The next frontline change is over at the New-York front. So over at the New-York front, we have Dilievka. So this is yet another very big frontline change in this front line over at the Thorax sector. So in the north of Thorax, this geolocation near what I call the Jurassic Park, has expanded the Jurassic Park. So the Jurassic Park's business is really good. So they have opened Jurassic World just next door, and they have captured all of this area here based on this geolocation. So the Russians continue to make advances pretty smoothly in a way. It looks like it, and I think they're going to attack straight to the next lake to capture the grounds here. And if this continues to be the case, the entire Ukrainian resistance over at Thorax city is going to collapse, because the Russians were already here. So now they are here. This opening here is very inefficient. This is only around at most 2 kilometers wide. So if the Russians also take this point, then the entire area will be closed. Thorax city will be fully captured or conquered by the Russian side. So this is the significance of that. The distance over advance in this sector is around 700 meters, 650, 700 meters. So that's the Thorax sector of the New-York front. The next front line change is we go to Pokrovsk front. So this is Pokrovsk. Melanivka is here, which is where the front line is. This is yet another very shocking geolocation. Russian forces basically went beyond the center. They have kept with this geolocation confirmed the Russian forces have captured more than half of Melanivka. This is a very, very crazy capture of frontline change in this sector, with the Russian forces fully taking everything here. Ukrainian mapping have only asserted only to this point, which they draw the southern part of this lake here is also under Russian control. So, which means Melanivka has been largely abandoned by the Ukrainian forces. The fact that they lost this position this quickly is a clear sign of the lack of defensive capacity right now over in this front line. They are getting attrition too much, I think, because if you remember the days of Marinka, of what's the other place, I forgot, near Adiyevka. What's that place? I can't even find Adiyevka. Where's Adiyevka? No, oh my god, how far is this? Oh, we have gone so far. So in Pisky, remember Pisky, that all these settlements is not too different from Melanivka in terms of its design, the way how the settlement looks like, and there's way more fortifications here, it seems. The Russians struggled really badly at Marinka, at Pisky. Now at Melanivka, the Russians seems to be pushing in so quickly. So it does shows how huge the capacity to fight on the Ukrainian side have dropped. So very, very shocking. This advancement is 2.5 kilometers. You don't move 2.5 kilometers in a very, very contested battleground in modern warfare, due to the number of things that can kill you. So yeah, there is a very, very big advance for the Russian side. And after Melanivka, the next front line change, we have to go to the next front line at Komar front. So this is Komar, and as you can see, the Komar front is crazy. We have a massive advance at Bahatir, at Odradne, Vinnypole, and Novosilka. All massive pieces, which is why it contributes to a massive 48.64 square kilometers in total around here. So we're going to have to cover one by one. So over at Bahatir, the Russian mapping by Ryba have mapped that this entire southern part of the Voschar River, all the way to the eastern part of Bahatir, all of these are under firm Russian control. So this is based on Russian mapping. So everything in the southern bank of the Voschar River is fully under Russian control, which corroborates their claim that Constantinople is captured. And it's not entirely impossible if you believe in the Russian mapping previously, because it is rather impossible to reinforce Constantinople. I already mentioned this before in previous reports, that it is unlikely that the Ukrainians can hold a position at Constantinople. The advance continued down the river into the eastern part of Bahatir. This chunk here is Ukrainian mapping. Ukrainian mapping have mapped that this area here is under Russian control. The Russians have advanced into Bahatir. However, the Russian claim continues. They mapped half of Bahatir now entirely under Russian control, and this includes the fortification over in the south of Bahatir, and they head westward along the highway. So this entire Bahatir region is you can basically say it's entirely collapsed, and the Ukrainians clearly is still defending at Bahatir. We have geolocations to confirm the Ukrainians are doing their best to hold the line here. However, if they are busy holding the line here, it's quite clear to us that Constantinople can't possibly have Ukrainian forces right now. So because you have no time to reinforce Constantinople or resupply. So any soldiers that's deployed there, they are stranded, and they are going to be captured or killed off by the Russian forces. So that's Bahatir. This frontline change continues down in a very big chunk southwest of Bahatir. So this is where the front line changes we have noted just now, including the fortification and the advancement into Bahatir and all these things around here. This front line is so big that I can't even zoom in. This entire area is mapped by the Russian mapping as under Russian control. This is a massive advance toward Odradne. The entire area is captured, including everything on the east, multiple tree lines, gullies, more tree lines in the south, a massive chunk of tree lines in the south, fully securing Dnipro area in the north, the flanking movement to the west of Fedorivka, all included, including a direction towards Komar, and a multi-pronged advance towards Odradny. So this is all the massive advance in this sector, and I couldn't uncover this and show you, the full extent. Is very big. The depth in the deepest part is around more than 4 kilometers, and in the more shallow part is around 2 kilometers. So these are all very big advances. This unlikely to be a 24 hours advance, given the size of it. It's most likely a result of the fog of war. We have zero updates about the frontline changes around here. Then after a long time, suddenly you have this intel drop that drastically changed the strategic situation in this sector. Massive advance. Odradny is now under threat. Komar is under threat. So very big frontline change in this sector. So, and after this frontline change, we go to Vinnypole. So at Vinnypole, this is based on Russian mapping. They have mapped that the northern part of Vinnypole is now under Russian control. This includes a potential fortification in the north, the entire tree line, and the tree lines north of Vinnypole, securing the northern outskirt or the northern flank of Vinnypole. The south of Vinnypole, there is more frontline change, and this is a bigger one. In this area here, at Novosilka, moving in the direction of Zelenepole, which is over here, two geolocation has been noted, creating this massive flanking operation in the north of Novosilka. So this is my initial mapping. Then after that, the Ukrainian mapping mapped that the Russian forces have captured this southern part. This gully region and the tree line has been taken, as well as this northern, this western tree line. These are all taken by the Russian forces according to the Ukrainian mapping. They did not map this part, maybe to prevent concession that they have lost Novosilka. However, if you look at the Russian mapping, the pro-Russian mapping, they map that this area here is entirely a straight line. The Russians have fully secured this entire piece. Everything moving in the direction of Zelenepole, and it could potentially attack it from multiple directions. And this is also a massive advance. The total distance traveled is around 2 to 2.5 kilometers deep. So this is a massive frontline change as well. It is just shocking how huge the frontline changes is this past 24 hours. So we're going to do some calculation of the frontline changes over this past 24 hours. For the Ukrainian side, is a grand total of 0, because the past 24 hours they have captured nothing, claimed nothing, and nothing has been considered from the Russian side. From the Russian side, it's 12.41 plus 1.33 plus 3.05 plus 48.64. The total area captured by the Russian forces is 65.43 square kilometers. Shocking, huge. But I for now, on the more conservative way, I will attribute this to just purely the lack of intel over the past days and weeks, and now we are just having this intel drop over the past 24 hours. But if this kind of crazy numbers continues every single day, then we officially enter into a new phase of Ukrainian degradation of their military capability to fight. If this continues, like we are talking about like 30 kilometers a day, 30 square kilometers a day, not even 65 is quite massive, it's quite crazy, but let's say 30 square kilometers a day on average every single day for the next 2 weeks to 1 month, then we definitely entered into a totally new phase of Ukrainian fighting capability, where they degraded quite significantly. And if it's going to be 65 square kilometers a day, they definitely has lost massive amount of fighting capability. So this is something to note. And if it goes to 100, 200 square kilometers, then I think the Ukrainian military is already routed. They have lost basically most of its combat capability. So and that will mean big arrow movements will start to become a real thing, where you see massive advances, huge multi-kilometer flanking operations a day around massive cities. I think that's what we're going to be seeing, and then we'll in that kind of situation we're going to see airborne operations from the Russians. I believe they're going to use the airborne operations to speed up the captures of grounds and do encirclements and whatnot. So that is if there is the frontline changes, we are moving into the over 100 square kilometers a day, but at this moment it's not the case. This probably just a 1 day off thing, so don't get too excited, but still very exciting. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today, and I'll see you guys in the next update.